Okay, in this video I want to discuss again the diversity idea, the baker's dozen, where you buy quite a few number of stocks, different types, and at least one lot of each, or 100 shares of each, and you try to, in the numbers of the stocks you own, try to miss the bullet of buying just a lot of one stock and having that one stock go bad on you right away or soon. So some of these are probably going to go bad on you, but others will go good, work well with be good stocks, so they will cancel out. And then you hope that one or two or three will also, that more will be good than those that will be bad, so you can actually make a little bit of a profit here. It just because of the price you're going to have to pay to actually buy the stock and then sell it later to make the trade, the basic fee of just executing the trade that the online site is going to charge you. You have to be careful about whether or not it's even worth it. Okay, so what if you go ahead and decide to leverage it a little bit and buy 1,000 shares? So for all of these now, you're buying 1,000. Okay, on down. It's at $3 each, so you're spending $3,000, right? Which means down here you're spending $30,000. And that's the question I want to ask you: is does the middle class have $30,000 to plop down into an online site like this, online discount broker site, and to manage their own portfolio? And to do it sort of this way, they might. I'm not saying that they don't. Okay, maybe they inherited something. Maybe they've been saving for 10 years and they want to do it this way. Okay, because with this amount of money now, you can check it out. If you make 10 cents a day, okay, now you're going to make $100 times 10 is 1,000. You have to pay $8 for each one, so that's $80 worth of trading fees for right here. For the buying, and that's low. That's the lowest of the low. It probably is going to be more like 16. But let's just say that you have to pay 8, 4 to buy, 4 to sell. 10, that's $80, but you made 1,000, so you really made 920. Okay. But that's pretty good. That's really good. The thing is, though, again, just who's going to be able to do this? Okay, all right, because they might be, but the cardinal rule. I mean, and we're going to have to develop some of these, not in these particular videos, but soon we're going to have to think about the very basic rules for this. And I think one would be stay away from addiction, stay away from being obsessed with money. Another one would be, be willing to lose everything you put in. Be able to lose everything. So do not. You just, if I were to run out right now and say, hey, I got this great idea, okay. So I convinced my wife to let me just max out the credit. This would be a horrible idea, but let's just take cash advances on all our credit cards. Let's max them out so that I can get $30,000. Then I'm going to go and do this. Wow, that would be very bad use of the money, because I can't afford to lose that money. As soon as it's gone, I am in deep debt to those credit card companies, and it's just not ethical, for one thing. But I'm going to be, as far as like practical consequences in my life, they're going to abound. So one thing that you don't want to do is say, hey, let's take a second mortgage out on the house. Okay, so that I can get $50,000, so I can do the leveraging I need to actually pick stocks that have to go up only 1 cent or 2 cents and make something at the end of the day, wait 3 days, come back and do it again, do it 100 times a year, and I'm making $70,000 in theory. Okay, but it just doesn't work that way, because you're not going to win all the time, and you have to be willing to take small losses a lot to keep yourself from taking those huge losses that portend ruin to your stock portfolio. And it's just, you have to be willing to say, I may lose everything. Can I lose everything and be legally okay? and stay out of the debt, stay out of the losing the house and that sort of thing. And okay, maybe something else we need to do is look into how many people. And actually, there was an article that came out the other month about the CEO of a fund or a bank that was trying to petition the SEC about not letting this happen because people were cashing in their retirement accounts or their pension plans so that they themselves could take that money and go to the online broker sites and do this, and they were losing their money. And the fellow was saying something like, it's just, they don't understand what they're up against, they don't understand the techniques, they don't have the right tools. In other words, he was implying the online broker shop that says, hey, no problem, put $1,000 in your account and we'll give you 50 fee trades, and then after that it's just $4 a trade. But they don't tell you it's a buy for $4, sell for $4, it's $8 for the completed thing. The guy was basically saying, implying that that's an unfair tool for any investor. Okay, so in theory, the math makes sense, but can you actually turn this into reality consistently, year in and year out, year in, year out? Probably not. So what's going to happen to that 30,000? Are you willing to lose it all? I'm not saying you're going to lose it all, but you have to be willing to lose it all. Now that's buying long for a very short term. What if you buy long and just hang on to it for a year? What are the chances that 6 or 7 or 8 of these stocks are going to grow beyond where they are right now in a year? And at that point you sell. And at that point, because it's been a year, yeah, you pay $80 to buy and sell the whole lot, but that was just $80 for the whole year. Okay, the people that do this 3 or 4 times a week are paying, if you were to do this sort of thing 3 or 4 times a week, you would be paying $80 each time. So $80 for the year, that's not too bad. But to put it in perspective, the top line credit cards will charge you $95 fees for the year to have their credit card. So, anyway, what's going on here is you might think, well, I'm just going to leave it in long term. All right. Okay. All right. But the trouble with that is that you don't know when a crash is coming. And the idea behind stock market crashes is that they're cyclical and that they're surprising, more or less, for the average investor. Even for those that can tell something is coming, they may have so much money invested in a certain portfolio or stock activity or bond that even though they might be able to recognize it, their superiors refuse to pull it out just yet or whatnot, and they get trapped in the bursting of the bubble. So when the run happens, it's going to happen fast, and it's not as if the stock climbs slowly. Very few stocks just kind of shoot up, but that happens with biopharmaceuticals or oil company, wildcatting, when there's a sudden huge hit or something and they'll go up like that. But don't ever forget that the stocks don't fall like this. I mean, yeah, some do, but don't forget that stocks can fall like that. And you can't think, oh, okay, well I'll sell right here. I'll sell right here. No, you might wait a day and then you have to sell down here, or wait a day so you're losing a ton here. All right. And if you want to remember the .com bubble activity that we looked at, and the .com bubble, how they went so high and then they came back so down so fast in 2001, was it, or 2002, somewhere around there. What I'm saying is, if you leave it in for a year, two things. Okay, there are two things. One, the stocks do this. Okay, so you might have GHI, and I just took out the white spots here. But let me let's see. I'll do it right here. Okay. So I'll make a little square here. Here's January, and then here's December. Okay, this is a year, and you might buy it when it's right here. Okay, the stock may do this. Sure, they'll go up, but if you're just going to wait a year, guess what? They might be doing this too. And if you bought here, and when you go look at December, look at everything you missed. Okay, so, and the trouble with all of this is that if you realize that GHI is doing this, Well, all the others are like not so high, and you just want to sell GHI, go ahead and sell it and capture that reward or whatever. But then you have money sitting there that you can't invest because it's a small bit of money and you don't have the leverage. You get leverage only when you have this whole bundle. So, but I would recommend selling it, obviously, if you see it here. But what does that imply? That means that you have to be watching the stocks. So you hold it for a year. Do you eventually think that you might get in the habit of checking the portfolio every day? Yeah. I don't think that's a long shot at all. Would that lead to addiction and obsession? It very well could. All right. Um, and again, if you decide, well, I'm just going to buy in January and I'm never going to check until next December, till December, you might miss that. Okay. Um, or it could actually have gone up. What if this is still what if it goes up and then it goes away and you actually have all these losses at the end? So you still have to be constantly checking your stuff here. The other thing is, and I've already mentioned it, is that the longer you have your money in the market, the less likely you are to escape a run or a crash. And all you need is one crash for you to lose all your value. The accrued value. Now, if you just hang on to those stocks, it'll bounce back up, perhaps, because these crashes pass. Perhaps 8 out of the 10 stocks are going to survive and come back up 2 years later. But because the crash happened in 1 year, and then you had 2 years of recovery, you've got 3 years where your money's not doing anything. Okay, so how is this really a good retirement plan? And what are you shooting towards concerning this big lump of money? Do you want to eventually live off the dividends and earnings of the interest, or do you just want it to grow into this huge chunk so that you can take it all out when you're 60, which would be very unlikely. If you've had success in the last 20 years doing stocks with your money, it would probably be very hard to say, okay, now I just quit and I'm just going to pull all my money out. So, the way you can check this out is for you to actually pick 10 stocks at random, or it would be like 30 stocks at random, okay, and see where they were 10 years ago. And then just see where they are now and do an accumulation of value. How much did they actually all increase in value? And we did this, I think, for 10 stocks. And I think I had you pick the hot ones that were now, or some decent ones. So we tried to pick good ones to begin with, and I think, I was seeing things like, okay, so they earned $100, they earned $1,000, they earned $3,000 over 10 years. Now out of all the students that did this, there were 1 or 2 that they actually picked 10 that ended up earning like 17 or 18,000 over the course of 10 years. Many of them it was minimal gain, and some had lost a lot. I don't know if there were a lot of students that showed losing portfolios, but they were there. So the majority of them just gained like $2,000 or $3,000 over 10 years. This sort of thing. So it's I don't think it's all cracked up as it's I don't think it's as good as it sounds in theory. In fact, I think this is almost equally as hard to do consistently and right as scalping in one day or flash in the pan. Something to think about.